And welcome back to Sports Night. It's my pleasure now to be talking with a fellow that I remember from the early 80s as just a kid who was a quarterback at Florida State for Bobby Bowden. His name's Rick Stockstill, and now you're the head coach going into your fourth year at Middle Tennessee State University.
Had a little bit more hair back then, didn't I?
a little younger, a little whippy arm out there. You were a pretty good. You were a pretty good player for Bobby Bowden. I remember.
The older we get, the better we get.
Exactly. Right now, you're a Hall of Famer at the quarterback position. You tell your quarterbacks that, I'm sure.
I get out there and throw with them, and they see it for themselves.
I'm so glad you came in onto our studio to talk about Middle Tennessee State University and the Blue Raiders and what you're going to do, because we're going to be covering some of your games this year and offering a lot of coverage on the Sun Belt Conference. So I want to start with what you got going on there. Fourth year. You've had some really big wins. You play a schedule, a non-conference schedule that's mind-boggling to me. And this year, as I'm reading about you, you've got maybe got it all together, at least going into the fall. You know,
Bob, we've had some scholarship problems, and last year we had 71 on scholarship. Only 9 seniors, so 47 of our players were either freshmen or sophomore. This year we only have 13 seniors, so we're still a young team. And when that happens, there's growing pains, but we're starting to get more depth. We'll be in the low 80s now scholarship-wise, so we'll start to be like everybody else.
Well, I start looking at your personnel. It looks like you've got some pretty good players. I want to start with offense because you've brought in a new offensive coordinator. But everybody knows his name by the name of Tony Franklin, who had great success with Troy, a short stop at Auburn, and now he's with you. And Dwight Dasher, I guess, is your leading candidate for quarterback going in. Talk about Tony Franklin, your offense.
We're excited about Tony being here. I've known Tony for a while, and he's a great coach. He brings a lot of energy, a lot of passion to our staff, and we've got a great young staff and guys that really buy into everything. So, and we've been a spread team our 3 years, so it's not as the transition is not going to be as drastic as what Tony had going to Auburn. So, you know, we're excited about it. I think Dwight, he started 4 or 5 games for us as a true freshman. Didn't do as well last year, and looks like he's got, you know, going back in the right direction again. He's a very talented young man. He's got all the athletic ability. It's above the shoulders. He's just got to become a student of the game and really develop into a quarterback and not just an athlete playing quarterback. So he's had a great spring. He's continued to work hard this summer, and I think he'll do that this year.
Okay, don't have as much time as I'd like to have, and I want to cover a couple of things. One is some bad news for your program when you had to dismiss Eldred King, who had some problems with the law, frankly. He's dismissed now, but you're bringing back a lot of good receivers.
You know, I think the strength of our offense is probably our wide receivers, because we've got a lot of them now. A lot of them have played. You know, Eldred caught 51 balls for us last year, and we'll miss that. But we've got guys that are ready to step up, and it's no different if he'd have gotten hurt this summer and couldn't play. Somebody's got to step up. It's an opportunity for somebody else. But Desmond G., Patrick Honeycutt, Malcolm B. Chris McGlow, we got some guys, so I'm not really overly concerned about that. And we signed 2 guys that I think can come in and help also.
And Manny Diaz, your defensive coordinator, has some pretty good players coming back, particularly your middle linebacker.
Yeah, Danny Carmichael's our pulse of our defense. He's the tough guy. He supplies the leadership day in and day out. So he's a guy our defense is built around, and we just got to find some guys to put around him because we lost quite a few linebackers last year.
I want to talk about this tough schedule you have to start the season. You start September 5th with Clemson. Then you have Memphis come to your place at Murfreesboro, and then you go on the road to take on Maryland. So that's before you even start the Sun Belt
And then
Conference.
Mississippi State comes to us.
For the first time in Sun Belt Conference history, an SEC team coming. That's a big coup, I think, for the Blue Raiders.
No doubt. You know, Maryland came to us last year, and you know we knocked those guys off. But you know, we go to Clemson. We got a lot of guys. I coached at Clemson for a long time. Les Herron won the national championship there in '81 under Danny Ford. He's on our staff. A couple guys, Justin Watson, Willie Simmons, that played there. But you know, that'll be a great challenge. They've had top classes, recruiting classes the last 5 years. They're probably going to win the ACC, their division side of it. But our youngsters will be ready to go up there and play. You know, we'll be excited to look forward to the challenge.
Well, we're going to be covering Middle Tennessee State University's Blue Raiders this fall on CSS. Going to have some of your games, also covering things that are going on with your program. Really appreciate you joining us in the studio.
I'm honored to be here, and anytime we can get our name out there, I appreciate it.
All right. Well, this is the kind of guy who knows how to build a program, and he's doing just that. 24 years as an assistant, now in his 4th year as the head coach for the Middle Tennessee State University Blue Raiders. And we'll continue with Sports Night right after this.
Before we head out, we've got a stack of emails to read, and we'll get to those right after the break. We'll be right back, so don't touch that dial.
Sports Night is brought to you by AirTran Airways. Go. There's nothing stopping you.